Discovering a very dirty rag stuck in a blocked chimney proved to be just the beginning of an astonishing surprise, leaving everyone in utter disbelief as they unfolded its contents. Sometimes in life, we toss things aside without a second thought, believing they're of little worth. But every so often, the world surprises us, revealing the hidden value in what we've carelessly cast away. Things we think are absolutely worthless can take us by surprise and turn into something we can least expect. It's a reminder that even in the most unexpected places, there's a chance for the seemingly useless to find purpose and meaning. Something similar happened with a man named Colin Davidson. He was a typical handyman, a guy who could tackle almost anything you threw at him. He has this knack for fixing stuff and was pretty much a pro at everything. Originally, he'd trained as an electrician, spending countless years in that trade. But life had a funny way of teaching him various skills he'd never imagined he would need. So one day, when a customer mentioned her chimney was acting up, Colin didn't hesitate to lend a hand. At first, he was there to sort out an electrical issue with the lady's main fuse box. But as he worked his magic, he got talking with her. She mentioned how her fireplace chimney has gotten all clogged up, and it was causing her house to fill with smoke every time she tried to enjoy a cozy fire. Colin was eager to help, so he stuck his head into the chimney and saw pitch black darkness. It was clear that this chimney had turned into a dead end. Scratching his head, Colin took out some tools from his van and got up to the roof. Using the longest pole he had, he carefully poked inside the chimney, hoping to get rid of the problem. Took some jiggling and wiggling, but he finally touched something strange and gave it a gentle push. There was a clattering sound as it fell down the chimney, finding its way into the dark fireplace below. With that mysterious obstacle gone, he headed back inside to see what it was. What he found in the fireplace was quite a sight. It was a big lump of dirty, crumpled up trash, all covered with black soot. Somehow it got stuck up in there, letting smoke sneak past it for a while, but as time passed, the soot piled up around it and no more smoke could escape, causing a problem. Colin cleaned everything up, said goodbye to the happy lady, and took the trash with him in order to discard it himself. He drove back home, unpacked his tools, and tossed the old pile of trash into a bin in his garage's corner. Then he organized his things, making sure they were ready for the next day's work. The next day, as Colin was about to enter his house, a strange urge overcame him. He couldn't ignore the strange fascination he felt for that abandoned chimney trash any longer. With a rush of emotions and curiosity, he retrieved it from the bin, shook off the soot, and carefully laid it out in his garage workbench. His eyes widened in astonishment as he gazed upon what lay before him. It was a map, but hold up, it wasn't just an ordinary map. It was something unique, handcrafted with care by a skilled hand from a time long past. The discovery sent shivers down Colin's spine, but he wasn't a map expert. To uncover its secrets, he needed help from someone who knew more about maps. So he called his old buddy Reggie, who was a historian at the museum, hoping that he could tell him more about it. He headed over to the museum and then decided to sit down over a cup of coffee, chatting about various topics and catching up on each other's lives. Eventually, the conversation steered towards Colin's unusual discovery. Reggie carefully unfolded the dirty map, and the moment he laid his eyes on it, he let out a surprised gasp. He was so amazed that he couldn't stop staring at it. With soft, careful strokes, he cleaned off the dirt that hid the map's secrets, and his eyes got wider and wider. It was clear this map was super special. Colin, on the other hand, was dying to know what Reggie had found out. He asked him about it, but Reggie didn't answer. He was too deep into figuring out the map. He kept cleaning and looking closely at every little thing on it. Colin was growing increasingly impatient, so he asked once more about the map, and this time Reggie revealed that he wasn't ready to share his discovery just yet. He needed to be absolutely certain about what he'd stumbled upon. Although Colin really wanted to know what secrets the map held, he respected Reggie's decision. With a mix of impatience and anticipation, he agreed to let his friend keep the map for a few days to conduct further research. The next few days were going to feel like an eternity. As each minute ticked by, Colin's heart raced faster and faster, like a drumbeat pounding in his chest. On his way home, he felt like a little kid on the first day of school, bubbling over with excitement that he couldn't keep inside. He hadn't learned a single thing from Reggie yet, but there was magic in the air. You see, Reggie wasn't the type to get excited over everyday stuff, but when he did, it was like a spark that caught fire, and Colin couldn't help but feel this own thrill building. The next few days were going to feel like an eternity as he waited for some news, but even in his wildest dreams, Colin never imagined the truth about the map, truth that would soon unfold and alter his life forever. While waiting, Colin decided to do some research on the internet. He looked at tons of different maps, hoping to find the special one he'd discovered in the chimney. But none of them were a match. It was a puzzle that deepened the mystery and occupied his mind. Then, one day, Colin's phone rang, and it was Reggie on the line, still sounding pretty excited. Reggie invited him to the museum where he revealed what he discovered about the map. Colin jumped into his van and hit the road. As he walked into the museum and saw the genuine shock and excitement on Reggie's face, he knew this was going to be big news. It turned out that the map Colin found wasn't just any map. It was something straight out of history, a real gem from the 17th century, created by a famous Dutch artist named Gerard Vogt. And guess what? There wasn't another map like it anywhere in the world. It was the only one of its kind in existence. Colin couldn't contain his excitement, and he bombarded Reggie with questions, wanting to be absolutely sure he wasn't dreaming. Reggie, in response, had a twinkle in his eyes that could outshine the stars. He leaned in, pointing at all the unique marks and details that left no doubt in anyone's mind, and proved that it was indeed a Gerard Vogt creation. A tidal wave of emotions crashed over Colin. He was filled with happiness and gratitude that words couldn't capture. This discovery was about to change his life forever, and he was on cloud 9. That seemingly forgotten map had the potential to attract many buyers. So Reggie and his team rolled up their sleeves and got to work. They restored the map to its former glory bit by bit. When they were finished, it looked like it had just rolled off the printing press. It was practically a work of art. When Colin saw the map, he was over the moon, dancing with joy. It had transformed into something completely different from what he had discovered initially. He couldn't believe his eyes and was totally mesmerized by its beauty. Eventually, the map was sold for several $1 million at auction, and Colin was richer than he had ever dared to imagine. It's the kind of thing that only happens in fairy tales, but in Colin's case, it happened in real life too. He knew he had stumbled upon a golden lottery ticket, all thanks to his curiosity. If he hadn't taken a chance that day, that map would have ended up in the trash, lost forever. However, Colin couldn't wrap his head around how on earth this map got stuck up that chimney. It was a riddle he couldn't solve. But despite all that confusion, he ended up with a pile of money. It's like a magic trick where you don't know how it works, but in the end, you get the prize. Every now and then, Colin would just stop and smile to himself, thinking about how his life had flipped like a pancake on a hot griddle. All because of that hidden treasure he'd found in the last place he'd ever expected. Life sure knows how to throw you curveballs, doesn't it? Now before we wrap up, here's a question for you. How would you have reacted if you stumbled upon a rare and valuable item? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more heartwarming stories. Till next time.